Assalamu alaikum again. Hello, good evening to all our audiences in the UAE. Good morning to everyone who is outside the UAE, to all our participants in other countries. Bonjour, Kalimera, Namaste, in all languages of the world. We greet you today and we're very pleased and very honored to have you and to have a very valuable speaker in our third episode of SIP Talk Series. Success stories, how to make it happen or how to make it work in times of crisis. A very important question to ask and a very important topic to discuss today with our guest of honor, Mrs. Mouza and Nasri, the acting CEO of Khalifa Fund. Before we get into our valuable topic today, I'd like to introduce the CEO of SIP Science and Innovation Park, Professor Nihal Shabrak, with a brief introduction to the audience. Let's hear, or actually let's see a very heartwarming welcoming for her. Let's see the chat box. Show me what you got. What are you writing in the chat box? A very warm welcoming to Professor Nihal Shabrak.
Thank you, Maysam. It's too much for me. So actually, I'm really happy and honored today to have our distinguished guest speaker, Ms. Mouza Nasri, the acting CEO of Khalifa Fund for Enterprise Development. And I just want to highlight how much we are honored to have this close relationship with the fund. We have been working throughout the previous years with the Khalifa Fund, and we have many joint initiatives, and of course we are always looking for increasing the level of collaboration between us. And of course, when we started the SIP Talk series, and when we started planning for the first episodes, and mainly actually in this context of the COVID-19, we thought that we cannot do it without the Khalifa Fund, because typically all the work that is done by the Khalifa Fund to support entrepreneurs, not only in times of crisis, but mainly in this very, very difficult time, is something that should be communicated, and we should talk about it, and we should offer this stage actually to explain to the entrepreneurs and to the potential entrepreneurs, those who would like to start but who are hesitant because they don't know whether actually it is the right time or not to start a business. So we believe that the Khalifa Fund has already proven the efficacy of its support for entrepreneurs in the UAE, and also in times of crisis. So that's why I really would like to welcome Ms. Mouza Nasri today, and I would like to thank her because I know that she has an extremely busy schedule, but she accepted to come and talk to us today. And without delay, I would like to give her the floor actually to start. Thank you, Maysam. Thank you. Maysam, you should unmute yourself.
Pardon? So thank you, Professor Nihal, for the brief introduction, a valuable one. And I'd like to remind our valuable audience today that we have some brief or simple guidelines before we start. We're going to mute all the mics, and then we're definitely going to have a Q&A session at the end, which is going to last for 15 minutes. Every attendee is definitely welcome to ask a question, a short question, so that Mrs. Mouza will be able to answer briefly. And let me start with a very brief introduction. I cannot really summarize the value of our speaker today, her expertise and her journey of success in the UAE. Mrs. Mouza Nasri is actually the acting CEO of Khalifa Fund, Enterprise Development. She has been one of the people who have been doing a lot of work with Khalifa Fund, the baby steps of the development of Khalifa Fund, the growth of Khalifa Fund. Not only did she contribute to the growth of Khalifa Fund in the UAE, but actually the overall entrepreneurial ecosystem in the UAE, developing a culture of innovation, developing a culture of competitive SMEs throughout her work in Khalifa Fund. She's definitely a board member of so many vital associations and establishments. One of them is Soga establishment, which is a social enterprise that preserves the culture of the UAE, as well as empowers the microeconomic businesses of Emiratis. She's also a board member of Khalifa Innovation Center, and its very vital role in fostering innovation in the country. And at the same time, she's an esteemed board member of many other societies and initiatives in the UAE that help entrepreneurs, the entrepreneurial ecosystem, and the stakeholders in the UAE provide the right culture of innovation and entrepreneurship. And last but not least, she is an esteemed graduate of Zayed University of the Management of Information Science, and also with an executive MBA from the same university. Thank you so much, Mrs. Mouza, for accepting our invitation today. We're very honored, very pleased to have you. And let's start with our first question. And I hope the audience are excited enough to hear the valuable expertise of Mrs. Mouza. Ready for the question, audience? Can you write on the chat? I heard some of you could not write in the chat. Okay, great. So I see everyone can actually write. Good evening, Dalal, Aisha. Thank you so much for your participation. So let's start with the first question. Considering the uniquely challenging time of COVID-19, the UAE was actually the first country in the Arab world to develop a plan to foster its economy during and after COVID-19. The question is, what are the sectors that were mostly affected by the pandemic, and what are the challenges that the SMEs are going through, Mrs. Mouza? And the floor and the screen is yours.
Thank you very much, Maysam and Dr. Nahyan. I'm really glad to be with you today in this great event that you are launching in one of our most valuable universities in the UAE. I'm really glad to meet your students, faculties, and everyone who is joining us in this talk. So I hope it will be informative and beneficial to all of you. Well, thank you very much. It is a great question to begin our talk with. At the beginning of this pandemic, Khalifa Fund produced a comprehensive 46-page report on all the ongoing and potential issues from COVID-19, which is also included a recommendation on how to combat the current situation and the economic challenges. Unfortunately, there are some sectors that will face challenges due to this pandemic. However, there are measures which can be taken to place SMEs into the road to recover. As you know, Khalifa Fund will always try to advise SMEs on the importance of preparing for such financial challenges. However, this unforeseen issue that may negatively impact the day-to-day operations of any business. Yet, to be honest, no one could have foreseen a global pandemic of this scale at this time. So, nevertheless, we can say that there are certainly some lessons that have been learned from all of us. and we've been able to provide our SMEs with the guidance and support during these difficult times. We are currently facing or focusing on helping SMEs to manage and change their business models to help them survive in such pandemic. Of course, with all respect of the most affected sectors, I can say, and everyone can see, that most of the sectors are facing challenges. We've seen large and global enterprises being forced to shut down. And this goes without saying to the SMEs that will face business disruption as well. In particular, some companies that depend on tourism have obviously felt the most impact of this pandemic. Moreover, the hospitality, aviation, entertainment, and sport activities, all of those, they face the same. However, to come back to all of this unexpected position, we believe that this time those risks can be mitigated. And we believe that businesses can work on developing some solutions to come back to their normal operations.
Thank you, Mrs. Mouza, for the insightful answer and for letting us know about the sectors that are mostly affected. I believe you have mentioned some 7 sectors, and I would like to bring your attention, the kind attention of the audience, that there is a very valuable report on the impact of COVID-19 developed by Khalifa Fund that has very interesting insight that everyone who is interested in innovation and entrepreneurship, whether you are an existing SME or a future entrepreneur or a professional in the field, this report is going to be really beneficial. We're going to post the link for that report at the end of the session. So please feel free to have a look at it. Definitely, it's going to be very beneficial for your field and your business as well. So I really appreciate your belief that this challenging time is actually an opportunity. We can seek help. We can help ourselves as entrepreneurs or as strategists, and we can make this challenge into a positive period of opportunities, which brings us to the next question, Mrs. Mouza. Where do you think SMEs, or where do you think they should target innovations? In which facets of innovation? Because we have different or multifacets of innovations. We've got paradigm, which is the mental methods of how we think. We've got position, we've got product, and we've got process. So based on your expertise, where do you advise entrepreneurs or existing SMEs to take innovations to? Which of these dimensions?
Well, I believe there are many ways to tackle or to introduce innovative ideas to your businesses. There is no one solution will fit all. There are different sectors, different business models, and there are many solutions, and you can apply what is applied as per your business. I believe the core product and service offering is a key to have a successful business. Of course, we shouldn't neglect using the right communication channels and to be positive and position our business and pricing strategy on how an organization operates. However, I believe that taking a deep look into the market and recognizing where there is a need of a service or product to import, it is important to study the market and to see the different available options. I think the factor of the time is very important as well. You need to be acting very fast. If you sit and try to have a solution to come to you, you are wasting your time. So your marketing strategy and your communication and pricing strategy should cover what you need to position yourself as a company. The consumer will explore other alternatives and competitors if you stayed without going around finding the right solution to you. So this is very important to all of us to take care of. Another thing I would like to say, innovative products and services is where the primary focus should remain. With that being said, there's something to try and to test and different methods that you can use. If you can identify a model that clearly working in particular sector, in the thing that you need to do, there are lots of opportunities. You need to position your business in such a way that can be successful within your organization. And you need to look always for solutions. You need to go beyond the normal ways how we used to do businesses. I think, as they are mentioning, it is the new normal, and that we have to adapt to it. People should accept change, and people should look for solutions. You need to talk about it. Don't suffer alone. This is what I can tell you. You need to talk about it. You need to go and seek opportunities. You need to knock doors and to try to find the right elements to your business, because no one will know your business more than you. You will know the right elements that you need. You will know the right tools that you need. You will know how to cut costs. You will know how to seek new opportunities better than anyone else. So this is my answer to your question.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Mouza. Actually, I couldn't agree more with you. It's definitely an integrated approach of trying to tackle the 4 dimensions of innovation while having a key focus on product and service innovation. And definitely with all the changes happening and the need for the dynamic capability and the orientation and the vision of the UAE government towards a digital economy, probably process is also very important, just as you mentioned. Very insightful. Let's move to the next question. Although this time is very challenging, nobody can deny the strong position of the UAE globally in the government support of SMEs and the facilitations provided for entrepreneurs, especially the youth entrepreneurs. Can you give us more and elaborate on this? What is available? What is provided for entrepreneurs and SMEs by the UAE government? And what success stories you were able to bring to the market during this difficult time?
Well, the UAE national agenda looks into achieving the Vision 2021 by further establishing and fully commenting the country as a hotspot for entrepreneurship. We know that COVID-19 has presented some new issues and challenges, but that doesn't mean that we are not facing the fact that we can shape our entrepreneurial ecosystem and we can be the best among the world. I believe that the UAE, from a federal level and local level, they worked hard to establish new ways to support SMEs and the ecosystem. They gave lots of incentives and they eliminate lots of challenges from many of our entrepreneurs and of our small and medium enterprises. Well, to ensure SMEs relief and to ensure those needed support to be in place, there are many incentives and discounts and waivers came from Abu Dhabi government and the federal government. Many of the key stakeholders from the private sector as well, they contributed to extend financial and non-financial support to many SMEs. I can name some, but there are many more than what I will name. I will just say what, for example, Khalifa Fund did at this time. We gave lots of non-financial support. We gave mentorship, advisory, and we gave lots of training programs to support entrepreneurs at this time. We also, from a financial perspective, we helped to defer 3 months installments from our funded companies. We tried to help them with a cash flow to manage their daily operations at this tough time. We also helped to assist the most affected companies that had to shut temporarily their businesses and their operation. We did restructuring to their loans to to ease their business and their financial issues. We also try to reallocate some of the loans from different items they have to the most needed items. For example, if a company, they are budgeting, let's say, an amount for marketing, and they had an issue with paying the staff salaries. So we help them to move this budget from the marketing element to paying their staff salaries, because we believe that it's not only the companies who suffered, also the staff who are there recruiting, they suffered also with them, because at this time, we don't want to reach a position where companies laying off their staff or not being able to pay their salaries. So we try to help to have the right cash flow to those SMEs. We also help in negotiating with the landlords to reduce or to delay the rent payments for those SMEs. We believe that many of the landlords, they were very much supportive, and they contributed to support our SMEs and our members. We must say that we note that this pandemic affected many and into many levels. As I said, not only the owners, it's the ecosystem, the economy, the country, the owners, their staff, even the customers who used to deal with such companies and they are loyal to them, they also got affected by losing some of their needed products. However, alhamdulillah, the country worked hard to eliminate all of these kind of challenges. And as I said, it's a global market impact. The entire global faced this kind of a challenge. And we believe that there are many businesses who are looking into different opportunities. And again, let us talk about opportunities. Let us stop talking about the problem. Opportunities are there and we need to seek them. We have to think about working on our e-commerce businesses to raise the, let's say, digital readiness of our SMEs. There are many opportunities in the e-learning sector. There are lots of opportunities on the disposable medical supplies for hospitals and for even individuals who needs to use those supplies. There are many streaming services and logistics. We can look at the supply chain of many products such as food supply chain. There are many efforts from the government to support the food security. So it's your time now to think about such opportunities available in the market to invest in and to contribute to the economy and to yourselves.
So true, Mrs. Mouza. Thank you so much. It's actually very true and inspiring, because this is the window of opportunity that is open for entrepreneurs at the moment, whether they're existing or they're future entrepreneurs. So it's very important to make use of this window while it's open before it closes, if you really want to make a change, and if you really want to use this dynamic capability to bring value to the society and bring value and commercial value to your business and your project. I would like to ask you if you could tell us about a success story, probably Highness story, or if you have an example to give for the audience.
We have some success stories. I'm not sure if we can share some of the videos with the audience. It will be great.
Interactive platform designed to help patients improve their treatment journey. After the recent pandemic of COVID-19, many things have changed in our life. We stopped visiting hospitals. And because of that change, we had to change too. So we designed Doctor, an online health technology to help you decide better when it comes to your health. Whether you need an immediate doctor visit or you need to know more about your health condition. And honestly, We couldn't do it without the help of Khalifa Fund. So, thank you.
Excellent success story, very short and to the point. It's actually tackling the...
So Hasna, she is a very successful she is a doctor, and she thought of starting an online portal where she can have the right connect between patient or people who wants to meet doctors online. So instead of going to the hospital and you have a question or you want to seek the best doctor in a certain specialization, you can use her online platform. I believe it's a very innovative business idea, and it's really helpful at this time. We have other also other entrepreneurs. I will talk about Rafiq. Rafiq is also app. You can download it on online, and this applicant, he has this tool where he is connecting many of the maintenance companies that you can use while you are at home. So for example, if you have a problem in your electricity or you have a problem in any of your household items, you can just through the app, you can ask for your need, and someone will call you immediately and come to fix what you need to fix to your home. There is another one. Let me talk about a restaurant. Who, you know, he got affected and he had to close his dine-in. This is a real story where he tried his best to, instead of just closing and waiting, he seeks some charity companies or institutions in the UAE where he offered them to do catering food for the labor camps and the people who got affected by the pandemic. So those charity and associations, they gave him contracts to supply to the people who are in need. So instead of sitting, doing nothing, just waiting for something to go again back to the normal, they tried to be innovative, to find solutions and new ways of doing business, which is really good. We have many also success stories. We have a one service provider as well. It's a nail spa, and you know, in this time people couldn't go outside to do their service, so they created a kit where you apply and you order this kit and do it yourself at home. And there are many kits based on the needs or the service. So these ideas we've never thought of before the pandemic, and I think they will stay even after that. So I'm really glad to have many of our entrepreneurs who are thinking about opportunities and they challenge time instead of being challenged. And this is part of our stories. And I'm sure if you can follow our Instagram and our different social media accounts, you will hear more and you will know more about our success stories and offers and the services that we are offering to the entrepreneurs and the ecosystem.
Actually, excellent success stories, and they do give the young entrepreneurs hope that it's not about disruptive innovation. You can have an old concept and just have a new method done to it, or which is basically a process innovation. And this is what could work really well during COVID-19 and after COVID-19, which will make your business more sustainable, whether you're existing or you're tackling a future entrepreneurial venture. Then definitely, I'm sure these success stories were your starting point to know that you can do it, and there's a lot of opportunities available for you to start. Allow me to remind you to use the poll at the bottom of your screen to give feedback on today's session. I think now it's time to start with the Q&A. Mrs. Mouza, ready, inshallah?
Inshallah.
Excellent. So let's start with the first question. Is there a central source of information that lists all probably the challenges, Dr. Gurda?
Yes. So as we mentioned, we have created this report that shows the challenges and the opportunities. And also we scanned all the reports happened at that time, in the first time of the pandemic, and we listed all the different experiences in that report. I think it's very, very, very beneficial report, and you need to look into it and you will find all the information needed.
So I'm kindly asking the co-host to provide the link in the chat box, please. It will help a lot in giving more details about the answer of the question. And here we have another question that says, the pandemic has helped new markets, businesses to raise up. How would those businesses survive after the pandemic? I mean the new small businesses that have raised during the pandemic, like small businesses selling masks, non-medical and other similar businesses. So probably Maryam is asking that there are some businesses that were born just because of the pandemic. How can they sustain their business model after COVID-19?
Well, I think medical supplies will remain, with different levels, but there are many health authorities and health entities that will be buying such supplies. So the idea is, I think you need to go beyond the UAE. You need to export your supplies, because you need to explore new markets and you need large markets to sustain your operations.
So basically we need to look for that large market size that we can satisfy with their needs, that we can sustain after COVID-19. Thank you so much. And then we have a question. There's an entrepreneur, Fatma. She says, how can Khalifa Fund help me? Very good question.
How can we help you? So we need to understand your pain first. I think you need to call. We have an online counselors, business counselors, who can help understanding your pain or your need, and they will guide you to the best solution that fits your needs. So please call. There is a hotline for Khalifa Fund and a business counselor who are dedicated to answer your needs. I believe they will help at least start understanding the pain or the needs that you are suffering from, and they will sure guide you.
Beautiful, thank you. More questions? Do we have more questions? Let's check. Okay, looks like we have covered all questions. Am I right, participants? There's another question that says, do you encourage the establishment of projects under the current circumstances?
Well, I believe we need to know the type of this project. There are some projects that will need lots of staff. You have to recruit people to work with you. So you need to look at that element. Can you recruit at this time? Can you find the right talent? I think it's a bit challenging to find the right talents at this time. I would not say it's not the right time, but I believe you need to understand if you can operate. Let us put it this way: study it if you can operate, and if there is a market now for your business. And I believe you need to cut as much as you can from the costs and focus on being an online business that can be accessible from many people. I think you need to study it to see if it is feasible to start at this time. Many they can start at this time. It's the right time for them. And some, I think they need to calculate the risks of starting at this time.
Certainly, certainly right. And it reminds us that it's very important to look as much as possible into the innovation of the business model, the revenue streams, at the minimum cost possible, right?
Yeah.
So I would like to remind the audience that they can raise their hands and we can unmute their mics. They can ask the question verbally as well. However, in the meantime, there's a question. How do you get approval for devices or services? In other words, how does a potential company overcome the red tape?
So I didn't get it. Is it how they can apply to the fund?
Steve, would you like to elaborate on this? Okay, until Steve is able to elaborate on this, we probably can move to the next question. Does the fund help to find, okay. Can new entrepreneur with only one idea get fund from Khalifa Fund organization, or should he or she have resources and assets before getting support?
Well, Khalifa Fund is a risk taker when it comes to funding startups or businesses in the ideation stage. So what's normally happens is that people apply online to Khalifa Fund with their business ideas. And we look into the capabilities of the person himself or herself. Then we see the business, if it is fall under the priority of the government or Khalifa Fund to start. Then we look at the financial needs. Yes, we normally request a contribution from the business owner, but this contribution is to be part of the investment amount. We like people to put their skin in the game, so they'd be more motivated to be into their business. We don't require assets. We take personal guarantee from the owner. I hope the answer is covering this question.
Probably it did, yes. So another question, which is about the red tape. Can Khalifa Fund help facilitate contacts to get approval? There are so many authorities, federal, Emirati, what is approved for Abu Dhabi Emirate may not be approved for Dubai and so on. So that was basically the question.
Well, we have a full department to support entrepreneurs in different needs. So, of course, each emirate or each city, they have their own regulations or let's say conditions. However, Khalifa Fund is under Abu Dhabi government, but working with all the emirates. We have many agreements with all the emirates across the UAE, and we help facilitating and supporting those members. So, for example, if it is a Khalifa Fund member, and he is, for example, in Ras Al Khaimah, and they want to get waivers from the fees, we give them a letter to the authorities in Ras Al Khaimah, and they waive them because of the leaders' support on those emirates. They fully support Khalifa Fund and its companies and the members. So I think yes, we do. However, there are some restrictions that applies to all. So we need to look into what we can give and what we can support with. And we take this extra mile to help and support those entrepreneurs, either in Abu Dhabi or outside Abu Dhabi.
Certainly, certainly. And there's a very valuable suggestion from Dr. Gurdal. He says if it's possible for Khalifa Fund to share the database of possible internships or jobs in the existing startups supported by Khalifa Fund so that students can benefit from this database. So that could be a suggestion that could be considered in the future, Mrs. Mouza?
Well, it's a very good suggestion as well. I think, yes, why not? By the way, we have one, let me talk about this person. He's really good. His name is Muhammad Al-Harsusi, and he has a cyber business. It's an ICT company. It's called Cybergate. You can search it. He always employs UAE nationals within his company, and he welcomes them. And from here, we say that we really love to have many of this entrepreneur within our database. They are supportive. They like to recruit UAE nationals and develop them and train them and give them all the skills needed to take it forward. So yes, it's a very good idea, and I think we should explore it further.
Excellent, beautiful. And there's another question that may seem in the form of a suggestion as well. They're basically suggesting if there's a possibility for an online platform that brings entrepreneurs together so that they can exchange expertise and benefit from one another or other businesses as well. Is this available? Is it part of the plan? Could that be a future project to be?
Well, we have a portal called Khalifa Fund Gateway. And Khalifa Fund Gateway, it's for our members, where they can have their own page and they update it with all of their information, their contact numbers, their product and services. And we also do an event called Tawasul, which is connecting members to members, and also we connect them with government and private companies with many offers that they can get the benefit of. We are doing this in Abu Dhabi and Al Ain and in many other Emirates as well. We are now exploring the possibility to create a new initiative, which is I don't want to talk about it, but I will do now because it's something that is a process.
The audience must be very fortunate to know about it today.
Yes, so it's an initiative to promote UAE local producers and UAE local companies in an international portal. So we are talking to many international, well-known portals to introduce this idea with them, where we can do localized pages within their portals and support local producers and local products to train them how to register and put their products online on those well-known international portals, and they can sell and access to new markets. This is under development. It will be announced very soon. And of course, it will be for all local companies and producers in the UAE.
Well, this is definitely a very great opportunity to globalize their businesses, right?
Yes, local to global.
Yes, definitely. And there's another question about the process of applying to Khalifa Fund. Some participants thought that it was a bit difficult for them to fill the form. So they were asking if it's really mandatory to fill all the requirements, or it's possible to probably have a discussion before they apply or something?
Yeah, we have a call center, and they can, of course, by all means, call and discuss and get all the information needed. Yeah.
So Hind, you have support there. Don't worry about your question. So we will take the last question as we're approaching the end of the session. Any hand? Any participant would like to raise a hand and unmute their mic with the last question in this session? Okay. Another reminder for our audience, please do not forget to click on pause and give us your feedback about today's session. Thank you so much for your beautiful engagement. And most importantly, thank you so much, Mrs. Mouza, for this very insightful talk and for your time and for accepting our invitation for SIP Talk series. I'm very proud of every single participant who has been with us in the first and the second and the third. And hopefully we see you in the fourth until the 100th, inshallah. Thank you so much. Merci. Shukran. Shukriya. In all words and all languages of the universe. Please be with us next time. Remember to put your feedback in the poll. Remember to make use of this very important report provided by Khalifa Fund on the impact of the pandemic on SMEs and businesses and sectors in general. And make sure that you're with us with SIP on social media with Khalifa Fund to know the updates, to know the events, and to get more insights on what could be very beneficial for your existing business or future business after or within this pandemic. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Hope to see you very soon. And enjoy the heat of the summer.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maysam. Thank you, Mr. Mouza.
It was my pleasure being with you today. I really enjoyed this session. And Maysam, you did a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming, really.
And I wish you all the best in the coming programs. And please consider us part of the UAE Youth Science and Innovation Park, please.
We are family.
I was just thinking, because you know the first startup you mentioned when you were talking about the startups that were born in this period of the pandemic. I think actually this is an amazing project for our upcoming accelerator with Saha. And I think actually one of the challenges they presented, this solution is going to be the right fit. So I think we will contact your team actually to have the contact of this startup so that we can involve them in our accelerator, inshallah.
Sure. We have more than one, so we are pleased to give you information.
Inshallah.
شكرا دكتورة.
الله يخليكي. شكرا.
Everyone.
مع السلامة.
Take care. مع السلامة.
Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful evening.